Meteorologist Rob Perillo.
Welcome back. Well, it looks like a very nice weather pattern setting up for the rest of the week and maybe into the weekend as well. Nice stretch of weather. Good times to be a meteorologist in the days ahead. So let's get to it. First off, got a great drone shot for you. Here we are underneath the Ambassador Caffrey Bridge going right over Bayou Vermilion. And then we're going to come up and get some elevation here and get a nice sweeping shot of the south side of town. Thanks to Logan Thibodeau for piloting the drone today. But you can see that beautiful green area of Lafayette, even though we do have some urban areas as well. But overall, pretty green place. And the skies, well, partly cloudy skies, some high level moisture still out there, but we're going to be drawing out, and that is the good news. Again, pretty cool shot here. I posted this on Twitter. I'll post it on Facebook eventually. We'll wait for everybody else to get on Facebook as well. As we take a look at the big picture here, we're looking at the upper level pattern. We have this upper level low here up by Arkansas, and this is not going to go anywhere anytime soon. In fact, it's going to gradually drift northward, but in its place, high pressure is going to be building on in. So we're going to get a drier, more comfortable pattern, and we're not going to see any significant rain chances rest of the week, and it looks like through the weekend as well. So a nice dry October-like period coming up with pretty much near normal temperatures for this time of year. And here we have the northerly winds. We have a little bit of a frontal boundary here and still the threat of some heavy showers and storms. Flood watches continue across portions of Alabama into Georgia this afternoon. Now, a few showers indicated over southeast Louisiana, but Acadiana, we're just getting a little bit of a ground clutter pattern here thanks to a stable atmosphere, but that will change with time and that ground clutter will disappear. But we do have some pretty good storms here by Laplace down to Des Allemands. This is moving generally to the southeast, and these storms mean business here. A fair bit of cloud ground lightning, torrential downpours, especially along I-10 and that 310 split around I-10. So keep that in mind if you have anybody you know traveling in that location. As we look at the bigger picture, we can kind of see our frontal boundary showing up here. No major issues going on across the Gulf of Mexico and the Caribbean with respect to the tropics. In fact, it's pretty quiet given the time of the year. We're still in the peak of hurricane season out in the Atlantic basin. Here's the remnants of Victor, and then we go to the north. We still have Hurricane Sam for one more day probably, and a little bit of an area of disturbed weather over here by the southeastern Bahamas. That could develop, but chances have gone from 20% earlier today down to about 10% next 5 days. So fingers crossed, no issues here. Sam, boy, this has been a long-lived hurricane, but beginning to wind down. It's booking, though. It's moving to the northeast at about 36 miles an hour. It missed the Canadian Maritime, so good news there. Still with 90-mile-per-hour winds. It gets extra tropical, but still has some pretty strong winds and kind of loops around between Iceland and Greenland in the days ahead for the rest of this week. But no concern of ours, and our weather looking good. Northerly winds moving in, fair skies, temperatures dipping down into the mid-60s by morning, and we'll see mostly skies tomorrow. Just a few fair weather cumulus clouds in the afternoon. A very slight chance of a pop-up shower, mainly down toward the coast at about 5%, and those north winds continue to dominate as we head into Wednesday. Could be a little bit cooler, and Wednesday afternoon, lots of sunshine, temperatures topping out in the middle 80s. So for tonight, we'll get down to about between 65 and 67. The graph model always a little bit more aggressive on the temperatures in both directions, but it's a dynamic model and we do like it. And then for tomorrow, we'll get into the mid 80s, but notice with dew points in the lower 60s, our feels like temperature right in step with the actual temperature. And then tomorrow night, it could feel a little bit better. How about lower 60s your low, and then going into Wednesday afternoon, once again, mid 80s your high. So pretty good looking weather ahead and feeling better starting tonight. Slightly cooler, but we really don't have a whole lot of cool air to work with. Tomorrow back into the mid 80s, which will be a few degrees cooler than today, and a nice breeze out of the north-northeast. That'll make it feel even fresher. And as we move forward through the rest of the week, mostly sunny skies, temperatures in the mid 80s, overnight lows in the low to mid 60s in Lafayette, but cooler outlying areas. And eventually we'll see a few showers back into the forecast, but that won't happen until sometime next week, and rain chances not too terribly high. So nice dry stretch ahead. Get out and enjoy it if you can.